Here is a full, long, emotional, and engaging story written exactly in the YouTube narration style you've been using. No headings, smooth narrative, powerful hook, emotional depth, and a strong message that fits a 40-minute video. Have you ever spent so much time loving others that you forgot what it felt like to love yourself? Have you ever poured your heart into people who never even tried to fill yours back? If yes, then listen closely. Because this story might just change the way you see your life forever. And before we begin, if stories like this help you, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more life-changing tales. This is the story of a young woman named Mira, a person whose heart was so big that she carried the whole world inside it, yet always left herself out. Mira lived in a bustling city, where people rushed past each other with no time to even look up. She worked as a junior designer in a small company, spending her days sketching ideas that her boss claimed as his own. She wasn't paid fairly, she wasn't respected, and she knew it, but she stayed. Why? Because Mira was the kind of person who didn't want to trouble anyone. The kind who said, "It's okay," even when it wasn't. The kind who thought that being kind meant forgetting herself. Outside of work, her life wasn't much different. Her friends called her only when they needed something: help with projects, emotional support at 2 a.m., someone to listen, someone to fix their problems. And Mira always showed up. Even if she was exhausted. Even if she was hurting. Even if no one ever showed up for her. Her family loved her, yes, but they didn't understand her. She was the responsible one, the daughter who never said no. The one who smiled, stayed quiet, and carried everyone's expectations on her fragile shoulders. And slowly, she was breaking under the weight, but the breaking didn't happen suddenly. It happened in small ways. Nights when she cried quietly so no one would hear. Moments when she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the tired, empty eyes looking back at her. Days when she felt invisible, even in a room full of people, and she kept telling herself, maybe this is how life is. Maybe this is who I'm supposed to be. Until one evening changed everything. It was a rainy Friday night. Mira had just finished helping a coworker with a project she wasn't even responsible for. She was exhausted, hungry, and her head pounded from hours of staring at a screen. As she stepped outside, the rain poured harder, drenching her completely. Her phone buzzed. It was her best friend, Alina. "Mira, are you free? I really need to talk." Mira wiped raindrops from her face. She wanted to say no. She wanted to go home. She wanted, for once, to choose herself. But instead, she whispered, "I'm coming." She walked 25 minutes in the rain to Alina's apartment. When she arrived, cold and shivering, Alina opened the door, talked non-stop about her own problems for an hour, then casually said, "I'm tired, I should sleep," and sent Mira home. No thank you. No concern about her soaked clothes. No question about how she was feeling, just, goodbye. That night, Mira reached her own apartment, changed into dry clothes, and sat on the floor of her dimly lit room. And for the first time in years, she didn't cry quietly. She sobbed, loud, broken, uncontrollable. The kind of sobbing that comes from years of silent pain. In that moment, she felt something inside her shift. A realization. A question so simple, yet so powerful: why don't I love myself the way I love others? She closed her eyes, breathing shakily. And in the silence, she remembered something her grandmother once told her when she was a child: "My dear, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't love yourself, your heart becomes a home where even you don't want to live." Those words suddenly felt like the truth she had been running from. The next morning, Mira woke up with swollen eyes but a strangely calm heart. She stood in front of her mirror, looking at herself not with disappointment, but with curiosity. Who am I when I'm not trying to please everyone? She didn't know the answer. But she decided she wanted to find out. Her journey wasn't dramatic or loud. It started with small, gentle steps, choosing herself in tiny moments that slowly rebuilt her life. The first thing she did was simple. She changed her phone settings. She muted people who drained her energy. She stopped replying instantly. She allowed herself time, something she had never done before. The next step was harder. She began saying no, not angrily. Not disrespectfully. Just with quiet confidence. Mira, can you stay late and finish this for me? I can't today. I have plans. The plans were with herself. But they still mattered. Her coworkers stared, surprised. Her boss frowned, confused. Her friends complained, saying she had changed. But Mira didn't argue. She didn't explain. She didn't defend herself, because she was learning that loving yourself often looks like silence, not to hide your feelings, but to protect your peace. One evening, Alina called again, asking for help. And Mira, with a calm voice, said, "Not tonight. I'm taking care of myself." There was a long pause. Alina didn't know how to respond. But Mira felt something incredible, a strength she never realized she had. Weeks passed. Then months. Mira began going places alone, cafes, bookstores, parks. Not because she didn't have people. But because she wanted to understand herself outside of everyone else's needs. She started sketching again, not for work, but for her soul. Her art bloomed with colors she had forgotten to use. Her world, once gray and heavy, slowly brightened. One afternoon, her boss called her into the office. He demanded she take on more projects, claiming that she owed the company her time. Mira looked at him calmly and said something she never thought she had the courage to say, "I don't owe anyone my peace. And I'm not staying where I am not valued." She quit that day. Walked out of the building with her head held high. For the first time, she wasn't scared of what came next. She was excited. With time, she started freelancing. Her designs gained attention. Clients loved her work. Slowly, she built a life that was fully hers, one where she didn't have to apologize for existing. But the real transformation wasn't her career. It was the way she looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were no longer empty. They were alive, bright with self-respect, confidence, and quiet joy. She still cared about others, still helped people she loved. But now, she loved herself first. She finally understood that self-love wasn't selfish. It was survival. One evening, as the sun set behind the city skyline, Mira sat on her balcony with a cup of tea. She looked out at the glowing horizon and whispered, "I'm proud of you." Not to anyone else. To herself. To the girl who once cried alone on the floor. To the woman she had become. And now, as you're listening to this story, maybe it's time for you to ask yourself the same question: when was the last time I chose myself? Because life won't change until you do. People won't value you until you value yourself. And love will never feel complete until you learn to give it to the person who deserves it the most. So love yourself. Protect your peace. Choose your heart. And remember, you are not hard to love. You just need to love yourself enough to stop accepting less. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more stories that inspire, heal, and remind you of your own strength. And always remember, you deserve the love you give so freely. Never forget that, if you'd like, I can also create 7 Ultra HD image prompts scene by scene for this story.